let's start with CLI, right? So you generally interact with the computer using the UI. You use a mouse and keyboard. Let's say you want to create a new folder in your desktop, let's say, right? What you would do is you would go to the desktop, right click, create a new folder, give it the name, right, and you can open it by double clicking it. Now this operation, while very intuitive from a user perspective, it is very difficult to translate this information and store this information, right? Let's say you have to do it, tell somebody else to create a folder, right? You have to tell your parents. I think this is a common problem that everybody has faced. You get a call from your dad and he wants to create a new folder. It is very difficult to repeat this process to him, right? Because there are a lot of steps in this. So if there was a way to condense this into a couple of commands, right? So these commands can now be stored and referred to again and again. It would be very helpful. So that is the purpose of CLI. It's called command line interface. The purpose basically is you can interact with the computer using text commands rather than your normal mouse and then whatever UI your operating system gives you. And it makes it easier to refer, store, and automate tasks. What you can also do is you can chain these commands together, right? Create a new command, right, which will be like a chain of this, and then execute this again and again. And you would have, in a way, automated all of this. Also, a lot of times, some computers do not have a display at all. For example, Linux servers, a lot of Linux servers out there do not have a display. The only way that you can interact with them is you have to connect from your computer to their computer via network. And now you can execute only CLI commands on that. So from that perspective also, it is very essential for a software engineer to know CLI commands. Let's go ahead and learn a couple of CLI commands. So the CLI commands that I will cover in this video will be for Linux-based operating systems, which is Ubuntu, Mac OS, right? For doing this on Windows, you can install Windows subsystem for Linux. The reason that I'm covering Ubuntu commands is almost all development is done on Ubuntu-based systems, and almost all servers out there in the world run on Linux. So because of this parity between your development and your servers, it is very crucial for you to learn Linux commands, and I would also encourage you to use Linux commands on your Windows system as well. So I have installed Bash for running Linux commands on my Windows machine. Let's go ahead and open Bash. So when you open this, you can see here that I have my login ID at the name of a machine, and then there is the name of the directory that I'm currently in. So CLI works out of a fixed directory. All commands that you execute will work only for that particular directory. Okay, you can change your directory to a different directory. Let's change our directory to desktop. Okay, so you can see desktop has been added at the end of my command line interface, and now our current working directory is desktop. So in our current directory, there's a couple of operations that you can perform. One very common operation is I want to see what's inside this directory, right? So then I will use ls to do that. If I do ls, as you can see, all the files and folders in my directory have been listed here, right? Now I want to create a folder in this directory. For that, let's do mkdir. So it will be mkdir followed by the name of the folder or the directory that you want to create. Let's name it Skill Vertex. Yeah. Let me do ls again. As you can see, Skill Vertex has now been added into the directory list. Now I want to move into Skill Vertex. I can do cd Skill Vertex. Now I have changed my current directory to Skill Vertex. If I do ls, I will see nothing because I just created this folder. Let's go ahead and create a file inside this folder. For that, we will use the touch command. So it will be touch followed by the name of the file that you want to create. Let's create test.txt. So that file has been created. If we do ls, as you can see that you can now see the test file here. I want to add something to this file, right? We will use Nano. Nano is a text editor available in most Linux machines. To enable this, you simply have to do Nano. followed by the name of the file. So the file that we wanted here is test.txt. Let's go ahead and open it. As you can see, it has opened like a notepad-like editor. Doesn't look very pretty, but it does the job. I can go ahead and type something here. Let me type hello world. This is nano editing this file, right? The typo here. Let me fix this. Okay. So now we have nano, which is trying to edit, which is editing this file. We can save this file by doing Control S. As you can see here, it wrote one line. We can exit by Control X. Okay, so that file has now been written to. If I do ls, the file is still there. Now, well, I still can't read the contents now, can I? One way is like I can do nano into it and read the content, but I would also be able to modify it. There's a way to just read the content, and that is using the cat command. So cat followed by the name of the file. This will print out the entire content of the file in plain text format. As you can see, hello world, this is narrating. This file has been printed into the console here. Right, so this is just a couple of commands. These are very basic ones. There is definitely a lot of commands that go into developing a software project, but this is a good start. There is one additional thing that I would like to teach everybody here, that is shell commands. Now these are commands that we are executing one by one manually, alright, and that is time taking, right? There are a lot of operations that you want to repeat over and over again. So to automate that, there is something called shell files, which is shell script files, which is basically, it contains a sequence of actions that you want to perform. These are CLI commands, and you can create a file of them and then execute it again and again. Let's just create a sample shell file. Let's use the touch command to do that. Touch sample, right? Sample.shell sh file. Now let's add something to the file. So sample.sh. Okay, file is empty right now. Let's enter the commands. Okay, what I want to do is I want to create a folder first. I will say sample shell. Okay. Then I want to move into this folder, right? Sample shell, right? Then let's create a file in this folder. So touch testing shell.txt. Okay, seems fine, So this, let me save this. You can see it's been saved. Now, if I execute this shell script, it is supposed to create a folder called sample shell and create a file testing shell inside that folder. Let's try it out. Let me just list. So you can see sample.shl here is here in the directory. To execute a shell file, I will simply do sh followed by the name of the file, which is sample.sh. Yeah, as you can see, it has been executed. If I do ls, you can see the new folder sample shell. If I move into sample shell, move into sample shell and list, you can see testing shell file is present here. So you can create these shell scripts, execute them. You can also put shell scripts inside shell scripts to create, even complex commands. A very common use case is, deploying code. So deploying code nowadays, because it needs to be deployed across different servers and services, it's a bit of a complex process. It involves multiple steps. Thing is, whenever there are multiple steps, you end up screwing one of them. And to avoid this, what you can do is you can create shell scripts having each of these steps in a sequence. So all you physically have to do is execute the shell script, and it will take care of all the steps for you. So there is a minimum chance of you messing things up.